This film for me is, if not a classic, pretty close to, except for the fact that it was never received in that way. A young girl who gets into a very violent accident with her horse, and the horse is at a point where it should really be put down, and the mother sort of intuitively sees that there is a connection between her daughter and the livelihood of this horse.
This animal is beyond help. Annie, can I have your permission now to put him down?
And instinctively decides to find someone who can fix the horse and thus fix her daughter.
I don't care if this doesn't sound rational. Nobody is suggesting anything better. I can't explain it, Robert. I just have this feeling. I just know it's the right thing.
Essentially, the film The Horse Whisperer is about the rehabilitation of both child and horse. You have the Horse Whisperer himself, played by Robert Redford. He lives in Montana. He's presented as a character who very much lives in connection to the land. You know, there's something kind of spiritual about his way of life. He's a rancher, I suppose, is the right term. And he is sort of very almost Zen-like in his approach to things. You also have Kristen Scott Thomas's character. So when you first meet her, she's businesslike. She's estranged from her husband. They hardly talk. There are some very good scenes in the film where
It's me.
Hi.
essentially see them crossing each other,
So what
like
train?
night and day.
I should be in by 2.
You want me to pick you up?
No, I can take a cab.
You see that they're not really connecting, and there's sort of a coolness. You have the daughter of the New York couple, played by a very young Scarlett Johansson, who essentially plays the young girl who gets into the accident, who sets the chain of events. You also have Sam Neill. He plays the husband who
Why are you coming home?
seems like he's trying at the beginning of the film more than his wife to be a husband.
I miss you, Annie.
Yeah, I know. We miss you too.
But with less success. Scarlett Johansson's character, you meet her as she sneaks out of her house. So she sneaks off, she takes a horse, she meets her friend, and they go for a little bit of a ride. They're riding along, talking about boyfriends and girl stuff. A truck comes towards them and kills Scarlett Johansson's best friend. Pilgrim, the horse, raises up to protect Scarlett Johansson so that she won't meet the same fate as the best friend. Robert Redford is trying to sort of do this exercise of patience, it feels like, with the horse in this lake area. And Kristen Scott Thomas is there watching, as well as the Scarlett Johansson character. They're sort of watching. Her phone goes off. because Pilgrim is still very much traumatized, bolts off away.
God!
Let him go!
Robert Redford gets up, follows the horse all the way to where the horse goes. And basically sits from, I don't know, let's say the afternoon hours until much later in the evening. Until the horse finally approaches him, and you see the horse for the first time sort of approach a human being and have the trust that this human being can sort of sit there and wait for it to approach. What happens straight after that scene is that Robert Redford very simply but relatively sternly says to Kristen Scott Thomas,
From now on, leave your phone somewhere else.
the horse whisperer is a somewhat lonely figure. You have the Kristen Scott Thomas character who is in her own right way sort of distanced via her work and via her sort of empty marriage. And so a ways into the film you have the fact that Kristen Scott Thomas and Robert Redford start to have feelings for each other. And then you have the husband, the New York husband played by Sam Neill, come back into play, and you have the film work its way through that sort of knotty, tangled thing.
Well, I'm afraid you are in the middle of this.
He's a good man, ain't he?
I never said he wasn't. Don't change the way I feel.
You gotta figure out what you want.
Do you know what you want?
I do know what I want, and I'm trying real hard not to get lost in this. Annie, this is where I belong. This is who I am. Is this what you want?
It sort of concludes with all of those strands in a really satisfying way, even if that's not necessarily the way you would go.
Who's ever gonna want me like this?
You know, you have those speeches in it that if you were to come in halfway through the film and just see those speeches, you might think the film is a touch corny.
One day, somebody will look at this extraordinary woman that you're becoming.
But the film makes you earn those scenes. So by the time you get to them, actually, you want them.
It's all I see.
The whole idea of rewatching a film is a slightly personal thing, because there is that emotional connection that, you know, you want. It's a good film to sort of get emotional with, actually. You know, it gives you that, and it doesn't feel cheap.
Now we're gonna show Pilgrim here how to help you get on it. Because you see, there's a point where neither of you is gonna need me anymore. And we're there.
I think it's a really perfectly paced, beautiful story with genuinely magical elements. There's an uplift, you know. I mean, I guess it's why we all watch movies, you know, there's an uplift. But the uplift feels earned.
How many different horse-related movies would you say you've seen?
Well, there's Seabiscuit,
Okay.
which I love, and that's it.